There's so much that they could have had. And the funniest thing is that for a game called Halo Infinite, I think it's an infinite amount of excuses and an infinite amount of wasted potential.
Yep.
No, seriously, open the video with that, with me saying that, and then just go up. So what does that mean? And then just go.
So, Halo Infinite. I want to talk about this game because out of all of my years of playing video games, making content, watching content, being involved in the gaming sphere, I have never seen anything with this much potential fail this badly. And despite Halo being one of the biggest IPs in the world, despite releasing at prime time for a free-to-play first-person shooter, it is easily the biggest waste of that potential in modern gaming. Even to this day, Halo Infinite is a bizarre blend of old era and new era gaming. Every corner you turn in this game has a new issue that stacks on top of the plethora of problems that's already there, but yet there's so many positives that come with every change that they make. But to fully understand why Halo Infinite is Microsoft's biggest failure, we're gonna have to go back to the beginning and take a look at things that probably should have marked the end for us. We just didn't see it yet.
Hey you! Yeah, you! Are you still playing games like Apex Legends, Fortnite, or worse, Warzone at the end of 2021? Are you tired of that new map they added in that's objectively worse than the last one? Are you tired of getting killed by kids that play like this?
This kid just dropped knife.
Well, do I have news for you? Big Computers in the Numbers Company have teamed up to make a game and release a early launch of its multiplayer, and it's free to play now!
And that game was Halo Infinite, and let me tell you, at the launch of this game, it was fun. It was a refreshing break from the stale and absolutely sweaty gameplay loop of battle royales and things like Call of Duty. This was a brand new game, so it was new to everybody, and there were a lot of new players, whether that be coming back to Halo from a long break or people that have never played a game in the franchise at all. It had a fun and refreshing sandbox that you can go in, enjoy, and learn how to use. There were things like the grapple shot, which allow you to have movement and traverse the map in ways that you could never do before in previous entries. Dumb bitch. On top of that, something like the skewer, which is quite literally just a giant gun that shoots a giant metal rod at anything in front of you, and it is the most satisfying weapon to get a kill with in the entirety of first-person gaming.
Yeah, motherfucker!
And this sandbox came tied together with a group of maps that had it in mind when being developed, coupled with an amazing movement system that wasn't too far away from the identity of Halo, but still injected some of that new age, fast-paced first-person shooter genre into the franchise. And before you say anything, I'm not having the should sprint be in Halo conversation. I made my stance very clear on this in the last video. But sprinting or not, everyone was on the same page of the fact that the core gameplay in this game was genuinely fun, and moving forward, we were excited to see what we were going to get. And with the launch of Campaign, it kind of just solidified this feeling of a return to form for the Halo franchise. And upon the Campaign release, people were generally happy with the experience. It was John Halo, the guy from Fortnite, on the ring planet with the blue lady shooting at aliens. What more could you ask for? And while the story and the environment were sparse in some areas,
Who the fuck is that guy?
the open world nature of the game kind of gave it this feeling of Halo CE, very wandery and feeling lost at times, and it did feel like Halo was Halo again. And Microsoft did kind of market this as not necessarily a soft reboot, but a jumping in point for a lot of people that hadn't played the other games. And all things considered, the perception upon launch is that they did a pretty good job in that department. But it definitely wasn't all positive upon the launch. There were some missing features like Forge, and co-op campaign was entirely absent, whether that be online or couch co-op, something that's very integral to the Halo identity. But on top of this, we get to one of the most memed issues of the game's launch, and that is customization. Upon the reveal of Halo Infinite, which we all know did not go very well,
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
it was revealed that you were not going to be able to change the color of your Spartan, at least not in the conventional way. In prior Halo titles, you were able to unlock armor, whether that be through loot box systems, playing the game, whatever it is, it changed with time, but you could always go in and select your colors for your Spartan. Oh, but you think you could do that in the age of microtransactions, can you? Well, no, we now have Spartan coatings, which you can unlock some through the Battle Pass, or you need to buy them. A color for your Spartan for $20 fucking. And this system was instantly turned into a meme all over social media.
You guys know I'm not fully feeling my granular armor coating here, but some of you guys in the comments suggested that if I get the $20 white skin in the shop, that would fix it. So I'm gonna trust you guys and go for it. All right, I gotta get 2,000 points first, 2,000 credits. Why am I regretting this already? I hope they just block it. Can I go back? Oh, it's done.
On top of overpriced bundles for colors for your Spartan, there were also other issues with customization, this being the Spartan core system. While in the marketing they did say there would be millions of combinations to customize your Spartan,
Millions of customization combinations.
when you unlocked these coatings, bought them, or got armor pieces, you could only use them on the specified core that they were for. You want to put the helmet on this one? Nope. You want to put the shoulders on that one? Nope. You want to put this color on this one? Nope. Why? Why is it this way? Why did you make this decision? Why? However, this does bring me to the topic of the Battle Pass, which has a really unique positive to it that I haven't seen any other game do to this day. That being, when you buy the Battle Pass in this game, it never goes away. They removed FOMO from the Battle Pass, and you could literally take up until today to complete the Battle Pass that came out in 2021 and still unlock everything within it. So there were a lot of positives to be had and some shortcomings that maybe would get fixed with time. Some of those things were actually already talked about and said that they were going to be added or changed.
They are looking to move away completely from the core system.
And with great core gameplay, news of Forge coming, DLC for the campaign possibly, co-op campaign, you could see how we were optimistic and excited for what was coming in the future. But a battle pass that doesn't go away doesn't matter when you have all the time in the world to complete it. And that was this game's main enemy. Time.
What is that place? Where the counselors were meant to watch the consecration of the icon. The start of the great journey.
So how long is a season in the current landscape of modern day gaming? Maybe 2 months, 3, 4 if you're really pushing it. Try 6. And we had 2 6-month-long seasons. 343 had not met their development cadence of seasonality that they wanted to have, and after a year of waiting, we got a handful of maps, a couple new game modes, and just another battle pass. The only thing that were keeping people getting on this game were little events that had free 10-tier battle passes that you can get maybe 1 or 2 cosmetics from. The player base on Steam had dropped from over 270,000 to around 20,000. At this point, there were no fixes for any of the game's issues that it had upon launch, and we were still missing huge features like Forge, co-op campaign, and cross-core armor customization still wasn't in the game. And because of how long the community had been waiting, it made those issues stick out like a sore thumb.
You're talking about the goal of achieving seasonality, and we're 9 months in. You had 6 years to figure out how to achieve seasonality.
And on top of that, we started noticing more. It started becoming very apparent that things like the networking model in this game were absolutely broken upon launch, and desync was becoming a huge issue.
Of course he lives.
The community also started to notice issues within the sandbox itself. Certain classes of weapons were removed and combined with other ones to take shortcuts to make the sandbox feel very bolstered out, but in reality, it was lacking so many of the features that we have come to know and love in Halo. Something like the plasma pistol, which had its EMP effect stripped away, and then it was given negligible damage compared to anything else, so it just became a paperweight on the battlefield.
I'm shooting at him with a plasma pistol, doing nothing per usual.
Outside of its iconography, there was no reason it was added to the game. That EMP effect was then given to something like the shock rifle, which is a pseudo sniper that one-shots Spartans to the head. Now this person can also sit in the back of the map and disable any vehicle on the battlefield, which makes vehicle play absolutely null and void. The other day when I was streaming, me and my buddy Dan were literally talking for hours, talking about how many shortcuts they had seemingly taken with the development cycle of this game.
And it's like, yes, these are all small things. Like, I feel like a lot of the stuff that, like, we're saying, that people would be like, well, that's a small issue. If you just, like, clipped, like, one part of what we're talking about. But, like, there are, I am not even shitting you, like, so many of these little issues where you're just like, how did they fuck that up? How did they fuck that up?
And at this point, looking back, the campaign isn't safe from criticism either. There is so many things that are obviously cut, and the story itself isn't an entire one. It is just a setup. There's no through line, and so many things aren't explained.
We got 1/3, maybe a half of what was originally planned.
Oh,
I think
100%,
the sentiment
and it feels
around the
that way.
endless and all this stuff would be way higher if we got a full campaign.
I think they made a really silly thing. So maybe it's just me. You're playing the campaign, and they're talking about the endless, and then it's the first time that you get attacked by a load of skimmers after that. So the thing about it is that I thought that the skimmers were the endless because they never introduced skimmers.
At that point, the way the room is, the way they come in, everything about it, it very much so frames it like 343 Guilty Spark and Halo 1, where they introduced the Flood.
From my interpretation of it, up until I kind of copped on a bit to it, the endless were like almost like they're like bees, and I was like, oh, there's a few of them after getting through. But no, that's not how it is at all.
Are they even? Because what is the Harbinger?
She looks like
I
we've
think
never
there was
seen.
some lore that came out that like did clarify that the Harbinger is not a part of the Endless. And she is a part.
But then
of
what
the,
is she then?
The Xanilin, and then
Yeah,
the
but what
skimmers are skimmers. She's Xanilin.
Yeah, but where did what? Yeah, but what's that?
On top of a general lack of content for the game being out for a year, getting a few maps and a handful of modes isn't really sufficient when your community is split up into sects of campaign, BTB, or arena modes.
The most baffling thing to me is the sheer lack of maps. Apparently, not a single person in 343 Industries' current game development staff is capable of making a map using the tools they have.
And while Season 2 did add new stuff in that was fun and exciting, it also exacerbated a lot of the issues that were already present. A great example of Season 2 adding something that made an issue more apparent was Last Spartan Standing, a small-scale free-for-all mode where you couldn't load in with your friends, you couldn't talk to anyone in the game, and like the rest of the gaming industry right now, there's no pre-game lobbies and there's no social element to it. And for a game like Halo that was literally responsible for kicking off Xbox Live and creating what we understand as the social aspect of online gaming today, it is blasphemy for it to have an absolute lack of social infrastructure. And while the Season 2 Battle Pass was really cool, and it also gave you enough credits to buy the next one now, the armor inside of that could only be used for the brand new core they added, making the issue with cross-core even worse. And yes, at this time, Unisec, the community manager, did say that they were going to be working on implementing cross-core into the game, but it wasn't there yet. And while this was happening at the same time, they were selling bundles in the shop, which were separate instances of the same coding for all of the different cores in the game.
Come on, man.
This isn't a fix, it's a workaround, and I shouldn't have to pay for your incapability to fix an issue that you created. Yeah, I still bought it. I know. I'm not proud of this moment. I was watching a lot of Sean Dubs. I was hyped for the shop every week. Just leave me alone, okay? I wanted the gold. And while this point in time was pretty grim for Halo,
outlining Halo Infinite's future for Season 2 and beyond. And there's nothing.
There was a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light was Season 3. Season 3 was going to be the point where seasonality was reached. Shorter seasons, features were going to be added, and fixes were going to be made. And 343 was keeping quiet during this time. We were all waiting for the launch of Season 3, the reveal of all of the things that we were going to get that we had been waiting for. And when the reveal happened, we were met with the Winter Update, which is a really creative fucking way of saying Season 3 was delayed.
Kilo 2-3 is hot. Recommend mission abort.
Roger, Recon. It's your call, Sarge.
We're going in. Get tactical, Marines!
Mr. Chief, get aboard that carrier. Secure the Prophet of Regret.
Whoa.
How do I even begin to talk about the Winter Update? With the delay of Season 3, it was making Season 2 essentially a 10-month-long season. During this time, hashtag Fire343 was all over Twitter. The entirety of the community was fuming. But at the same time, it was announced that we were going to get co-op campaign. It was going to come in Season 3 in a couple of months. You could finally traverse the open world of Halo Infinite with 4 people, with 3 of your friends, and mess around, play lasso, whatever it is. It's just that it was only online co-op. Couch co-op, which is an integral part of Halo's identity, was entirely scrapped.
I have had to make the difficult decision not to ship campaign split-screen co-op.
But at the same time, they were adding in features like implementing parts of cross-core customization and having a actual ranking system for your career rank in the game, with Master Chief's armor being the reward for reaching max rank. And with all of the emotional whiplash in the community, no one really knew how to feel, because while we were getting all these features, they weren't here yet, and we had been asking for them for a year. But on top of that, more negative news was around the corner.
No, wait.
There had been leaks of information that had came out that actually dove into the development cycle of Halo Infinite. It wasn't in development for 6 years, it was in development for maybe 3. So many things in the sandbox were cut, so many missions were cut, story elements, maps, everything, features. All of this could have been at launch if leadership just took their job seriously, if greed didn't get in the way. And it was right before all this information had come out that the studio head of 343, Bonnie Ross, decided to step down.
Your inability to safeguard Halo was a colossal failure.
It was heresy.
Now, I don't think Bonnie Ross single-handedly ruined Halo. Bonnie Ross is one of the people that kept Halo alive after Bungie's departure. And while I'm grateful we still have this amazing world that we all love and grew up with, there's no denying that it has not been treated well over the past decade.
We didn't put split screen in with Halo 5. I think it's incredibly painful for the community and for us. You know, I think it erodes trust. We will always have split screen in going forward.
Yes, I think the developers want to make something good, but management at 343 and Microsoft are just gaslighting the fuck out of Halo fans.
So who steps up to plate? Who is ready to shoulder all of the anger and stress and pressure of this community after all of this negative news, all of this backlash? But Pierre Hines, the person that has already established a reputation with this community for fixing the Master Chief Collection, which before their involvement, it was received as the worst release in gaming history. And with all of this back and forth news, the Winter Update's biggest feature was announced. Forge was finally coming. The announcement of Forge was huge for the community, right next to the people that were claiming the end times and tweeting things like #Fire343, or others saying that Forge was going to save Halo Infinite, hopped up on hopium and copium. It was a massive clash of two sides of a community, and honestly, I sided with the Forge people to a certain degree.
This one is machine and nerve, and has its mind concluded. This one is but flesh and faith, and is the more deluded.
And I know I'm throwing this word around, Forge, and I understand that not everyone is going to be familiar with what Forge is. Forge, for all intents and purposes, is a game development tool inside of Halo. The first iteration of Forge we got back in Halo 3. It was very rudimentary and basic. You can move some blocks around, place some guns, put some teleporters down, and kind of craft your own experience inside of the game. Or you could be like me and just spawn a box, get inside of it, use it to shield you from the guns inside of Sandbox, go outside the map, and pick up the skull that was hidden there. Anyway, leading up to the current day's version of Forge, things got more complicated and complex moving forward, allowing people to do more and more things.
What? Dude, I just recorded that. You have no fucking idea what that looked like.
And leading up to the Winter Update, 343 started to do live streams with the people that were working on the tool and showcase some of the things that were possible in the new Forge. These streams built a lot of good faith of the community, and it was amazing seeing Sketch, Unishek, and Forge Lord sit down with other members of 343 and genuinely be so excited about what they were about to release to the community. Them being so passionate about something that they were working on was just great to see, and the idea that they were adding so many useful things where you could scale, recolor objects, work on map lighting, you could have a whole node graph where you could script and change things inside of the game to craft your own true experience. On top of that, they took something like the Halo 5 Forge weapon combining glitch, thought it was cool, and then they turned it into an actual feature in this new version.
In Halo 5 Forge, we had this UI bug where you could pick the rec variant and
copy it and apply it to weapons that it really shouldn't be on. And we thought that was really, really cool. So we thought we'd bring it back in a fun way. And
that's awesome.
It was a no-brainer to say we need to keep this bug around.
Oh yeah.
It was like,
make that a thing.
Remember that the day that video went live and we saw it all back in Halo 5, everyone was like, we got to keep this around.
The idea that they were listening to the community and giving the community what they had been asking for, caring about that input, was a huge breakthrough for everyone and how they felt in their morale and how the IP and the game was being handled.
Oh my god!
How did I do that?
And when the winter update did roll around, they also surprisingly dropped an unannounced custom games browser. Something akin to surfing on CSGO or Trouble in Terrorist Town in Gary's mod. You could just go look for matches that people had loaded up on custom maps, custom modes, and just mess around for hours.
You need to hold on to the sandwich. If you drop it for anything, it just...
No, that was your own fault.
You're a fucking cocksucker!
And with a game like Halo, with community at its core, it's always been a very social game. A tool like Forge in a custom games browser goes miles.
What the fuck?
Game modes like Sumo, where I can drive around in circles for hours, screaming at my friends.
Oh, you died first, bitch! Ah!
The power of a tool like Forge in a community-centric game like Halo is absolutely unparalleled.
Bro, this shit is like a fucking city now, bro.
The idea that I can load into a match of Forge, build up my old house, my old childhood house, build up my friends' old childhood houses, put them together in a neighborhood that we used to live in, and in the center is the playground that we used to go to. And then I can load us all into this map together and we can just play a match. Or just walk around.
Oh my god, bro. What the fuck? Nah, because I remember the lizard. What was your lizard's name or whatever the fuck? Iguana. Yo, this is fucking crazy. I'm bugging out. Oh, because he broke his fucking door.
You gotta break the door.
Is this my room?
Yeah.
That is crazy. How the fuck you make this goddamn drum set? Dishes and fucking sticks? Oh, this is where I got ants in my head.
Motherfucker had ants all
No,
over.
it's right here.
All our moms over here, they're like, what's going on?
That is the power of Forge. The amount of possibilities that you give a community when you have a tool like this, and a community that is driven enough to create things for that, is very special. The idea that I can make an old Elder Scrolls type map and then have my buddy Dan load in with me and have him navigate me around my map and talk to me in a wizard voice for 20 minutes?
Avast! We are on the trail. Great fortune awaits us. Come hither. We will explore this treacherous road.
Look, behold, the ocarina. Behold. You're not beholding. This is why we can't have nice things.
I don't know what that is or why this happened, but I love that that possibility is there. There is no describing the amount of good memories I have just messing around on Forge, whether it be years ago or even today.
Get downstairs! You can't go anywhere! Get downstairs!
Forge will always be a center point of the Halo community. And while it should have been in Halo Infinite on launch, I'm so glad we have it now. But now I ask the question, did Forge save Halo Infinite? Well, it's a game development tool. It's not easily accessible. If you're already in the community, you know what it is, but other than that, the word Forge means nothing. Maybe if Forge was there upon launch, it would have kept people in the game. Maybe people that didn't know what it was would have learned what it meant to join a game of Duck Hunt or play Griffball or mess around on random maps with your friends. Maybe they would have bought cosmetics for those reasons. Maybe they would have came back to the game and continued to play for those reasons, but they couldn't because it wasn't fucking there. A game development tool doesn't bring players back or draw new players in. It doesn't make money. So no. Forge did not save Halo Infinite. But it was great for the people that were still around. And while this was a small win, we took it. And there was an uphill battle ahead of us, with the issues that still plagued the game, with the features that still weren't there, and 343? Well, they weren't gonna back down now.
The Council decided to have you hung by your entrails and your corpse paraded through the city. But ultimately, the terms of your execution are up to me.
I am already dead.
Indeed.
While the community probably hadn't realized it in the heat of the moment, the winter update is probably the best thing that could have happened to Halo Infinite. It allowed 343 to kind of get their bearings and actually reach their development cycle that they wanted for seasonality. While most of the player base was gone, if you were still a part of this community, this was prime time to play Halo. New maps, new modes, new content.
That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
343 had finally hit their stride. Things like cross-core were finally properly being implemented to the game. I could finally take one helmet for one armor set and put it on another one. I know, crazy concept.
Wow.
With Season 3, we got the launch of a Forge map playlist, which had reimaginings and recreations and custom maps thrown into matchmaking so you can play them with your friends in the normal game modes.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And Season 3 was only 3 months long like they promised, so Season 4 came around and they launched Infection, a social game mode that we had been asking for a year.
Nice.
Along with that, the Battle Pass included Flood cosmetics for your Spartan, a faction in Halo that you have never been able to integrate into your player character in franchise history.
Oh my god!
We were also getting new equipment in the game, like the Threat Seeker or the Shroud Screen. A new weapon was being added to the sandbox. They also added things like Squad Battle, which was an 8v8 mode on bigger maps that felt more like an original Halo experience. On top of that, something that came out of custom games in Halo 4 and 5, Husky Raid, which was a CTF capture the flag mode in just a hallway with random guns, including the upgraded variants, which was just absolute chaos.
Yeah, motherfucker!
And on top of all of this, there were amazing map designs. The events in the game were actually bolstered to feel like events. Passes had less fluff in them and more usable cosmetics and things that people actually wanted. And when Season 5 came around, one of the biggest leaks that we had been hearing rumors of, one of the biggest things that we had been wanting to hear 343 was going to be able to do, was confirmed. Since Forge's debut back in 2007 in Halo 3, everyone had wanted the same thing. And right next to the announcement of Firefight was the announcement that Forgeable AI was going to be added to the game. In this moment, as someone who has grown up wanting this, I was absolutely flipping shit. Features were getting fixed, things were being added to the game, it wasn't content dead, and the game was fun.
Hey!
Oh fuck, there's a hunter in your garage.
Kill that motherfucker right now.
A hunter in your garage.
He's gonna kill my pet hamster.
Oh, nah, I don't
shit!
want
Oh, he's getting in a fight with Anthony in the garage.
Oh, he's the fucking dude.
Oh, they're in the house. They're in the house, bro.
Oh
my god, they're in the house.
Oh, there's a big motherfucker. Hey, you bitch ass motherfucker.
Johnny,
hey!
Oh!
I felt like the past year and a half of telling my friends that the game was going to get better had finally paid off. All my time vouching for this experience had finally paid off.
There's a lint liquor, I can tell you that.
Yeah, link my lip.
What? Whoa. Hey. Yeah.
People like Mint Blitz were making videos covering the game every day, talking about issues that were going to be fixed, desync being confirmed to be work on, cross-core was going to be a fully integrated feature. We already had most of it done, more was coming.
What a difference 2 years makes, guys. Halo Infinite has turned 2 years old, and I honestly can't believe how much this game has improved. When this game first came out, we had Quick Play, BTB, Ranked, and Bot Bootcamp. 4 playlists, that's all we had. What a huge transformation this game has had. I'm so happy 343 hasn't given up on it. Microsoft could have easily pulled the plug, but here we are, 2 years later, and thanks to all your feedback, shout out to you guys, this game is in a much better state. 343 announced that they're fixing desync properly. I wouldn't even be surprised if Microsoft is going to relaunch the game, just like they did with the Master Chief Collection coming to PC, because they are really putting a lot of time and effort into getting the game where it needs to be. Season 5, we had the initial season release, we have the Combined Arms Operation Live now, and we have the Winter Continuity one, which will run straight into Season 6.
People like the Act Man, who had notoriously hated on Halo Infinite from its beginning, had come back to the game and said it was actually worth playing and a fun experience.
What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today I've done the unthinkable. I played Halo Infinite. I'm here to ask the important questions. Has Halo Infinite recovered. All right, fellas, so things are looking pretty good. You feeling nostalgic yet? Well, you better be, because we got Squad Battle. Now, what is Squad Battle? This is the new playlist featuring a selection of classic 8v8 BTB action on iconic Halo maps. Wait, we're home. We're home? This series can compete in the modern day, and the excitement and population around launch proves that.
People who didn't even play Halo regularly in their content or on stream were coming to check out the game, like Asdacross over from the Destiny community. And with more leaks and information coming out every day of Halo Infinite possibly being supported for 10 seasons, or new weapons, modes, and a vehicle, the Falcon, which had been highly anticipated for a long time, desync being fixed, all the features being added, the expectations were sky high, and the potential was infinite. Sorry, that's the last time I'll use that pun. There's not like a full script for this video. It doesn't matter. I won't do it again. Either way, everyone was excited to see what Season 6 was going to be, what 343 was going to cook up next, and what we were going to get. And it was around this time that my friend Dan actually had predicted that the next season was going to involve the Spirit of Fire, Halo Wars, and the original Spartans. And while he was correct, and I will give him the prediction of the theming of what the next update would be, it wasn't exactly a season. And now we arrive to what is essentially present day Halo Infinite. And what was the title of the new update? Content Update 29. What, aren't you excited? Doesn't that sound great? Doesn't it sound exciting, thrilling? Can't you see how excited the developers themselves look when they announced it?
CU29. It just kind of rolls right off the tongue, right? It has a lot more marketing weight to it.
No, they're not excited, and neither was the community. After 2 long years of vouching for this game, 2 long years of sitting around and waiting, the game was finally at a state that it should have been at upon launch. We had Forge, Firefight, customization that actually worked, a custom games browser, more and more fixes and things were coming every day. Why weren't we excited? Because CU29 is not Season 6.
It's a different shift in approach here. The gist of it is that we're kind of no longer referring to seasons. We're shifting away from seasons.
And if there was no Season 6, it was crushing to know, but it was evident that Microsoft was making 343 jump ship.
Excellent work, Arbiter. The Hierarchs will be pleased. The Icon is my responsibility. Was your responsibility? Now it is mine. A bloody fate awaits you and the rest of your incompetent race. And I, Tartarus, chieftain of the Brutes, will send you to it. And the prophets learn of this. But they will take your head when they learn. Fool. They ordered me to do it.
And when CU29 first came out, we did try to look at it as a cup half full sort of way. But very quickly, with the first impressions of them telling us that content updates would be better than seasons, it would allow for more regular updates and more content.
An ongoing operations model that will continue to offer 20 tiers of unlockable rewards for free on approximately a 4 to 6 weeks cadence.
Eventually, the veil draped over this terrible decision fell away, and we realized what the reality of this situation was. Yes, we had a new armor core, we got a new map or two, and we had a free season pass essentially, albeit it was a lot shorter and full of fluff, but it was entirely free. However, once the events started rolling around and the shop was getting updated, we realized that they all pertained to the new armor core, and something was very clear in that moment. Season 6 was going to be Spirit of Fire, before it got chopped up and thrown in the shop. Following the Spirit of Fire, we got a Banished armor set in the shop, a Kigyar or Jackal armor set in the shop, and then a Grunt-themed event with Grunt armor. And you couldn't even get the Grunt armor in the past that was free, made for the event, you had to buy it in the shop.
This is the whole point of this event is the grunt shit, and you're gonna put the grunt thing in the store instead of on the fucking pass or as
But see,
the
you know
bonus.
you know what's funny? You know what's funny? They miss out on crucial things. Crucial things.
Keep in mind that all of these armor sets that probably would have been in a season pass if it was allowed to be that way, now cost $80 to $100 to get every piece that you would have got in a $10 battle pass.
It's so bizarre to me that there's only like 2 banished armor sets in this banished update. The Spirit of Fire one had so much shit, so that leads me to believe even more that the Spirit of Fire one was 100%
100% a fucking battle pass.
100% a battle pass.
Yeah.
I can see this one being a season thing.
And I'm not trying to say this is full of malicious intent. This is just the way the cards folded. They had seasons planned and things for them, and then the trajectory of things changed and they adapted to it, and this is what we got. But that doesn't change the fact that over the past 2 years, being a part of this community, we have been vouching for this thing. Vouching for this experience, telling people, no, this is a good game. They're making the changes, and then having the developers in turn tell us that those changes, those fixes, those features are coming to the game. And when 343 is finally listening to the community, and the game is finally at a point that it should have been at upon launch, they are about to summit the mountain, and they just fall all the way back down.
Yeah, but just like me trying to get up this, the ramping went nowhere, and it just literally me falling back down. This is a perfect analogy. Put this in the video. This is perfect. Look, I'm 343 Industries. I'm so close to it so far. Oh, you bastards. I swear to God. This is, you know what? They fucking sabotaged me yet again.
This is just an example of what happens when something is so mismanaged that it just can't be fixed in executives' eyes. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I fully understand the business of the gaming industry, but when you have project managers that don't understand how to manage a project, or when you start hiring contracted devs to come in because you don't want to have full-time permanent employees to pay benefits to, and then those contracts end before they can actually learn the dev tool, this is what happens to your product. And then your consumers pay for that. And I don't think that's right.
I always find the best analogy was the regionalities. Every time you think that we're in the clear, that we've maybe won, like we've turned the tide, it's just like another supercar shows up and just starts glassing us.
For the past 2 years, people in this community have been paying for a broken, unfinished, and unfixable product. A product that we were told was going to be fixed. A product that we were told to wait for. And a product that, in their eyes, they knew that was never an option. And at CU29, at that announcement, that was when 343 told us that whoever was in charge gave up.
It went from like we were hopping on pretty much every day together. Anybody who was on, we'd hop on.
Yeah.
To, oh, there's something new in, we might check it out.
Yeah.
Even you can go back to the start of this conversation. Like you were like, oh, I don't know if I want to hop on.
No,
you were like, oh, I don't know if I want to hop on.
And even to this day, looking at the live streams when they add content to the game, you can tell that the developers are passionate about this thing that they're working on. It's just so hard to be excited for something that you know is dead. It's really hard to be excited about a new map or feature that they're adding when I know the only reason why this thing is getting this minuscule update is to milk the community or whoever is left playing this thing at this point of any money that they can before they move on to the next game.
And then once we complete Cyber Showdown 3, the next operation to come after that is the return of the Yappening.
At this point, Halo Infinite is closer to an exit scam than it is a viable product. And the sad thing is that this game could have been so good. There's so many good ideas within it that I know are going to be thrown away with this title, that are never going to be looked at again because this one failed. We're never going to see armor cores again, which I think was a great addition to customization. Cross-core should have just been available upon launch. Cross-core shouldn't have even been a term because it should have never been core locked to begin with. Having personalized AIs was a great idea. There are so many unique customization factors and things built into the infrastructure of the game that they just never capitalized on because they were too busy fixing the game because it released in the state that it did. They want to say that the game didn't rake in enough revenue and they're gonna blame it on the IP, they're gonna blame it on the gameplay, but in reality, when this game had so many players upon launch and they left because the release was botched and there was no content, whose fault is that? everyone loved the core gameplay. And when people came back, when you actually fixed everything, they loved it even more. And you dropped the fucking ball. I don't want the corporation to win, but I also don't want Halo to die. But at the end of the day, Halo is a product, and there needs to be balance, and I fully understand that. But if the game released feature complete, if it just worked, you could have had a team focusing on a DLC for the campaign that people would buy. You could have released new cosmetics for even Covenant weapons, Covenant vehicles, adding things to the sandbox to get people into the game and excited to buy new things. Give us a reason to, and we will. We're not saying we won't, it just needs to be fucking worth it.
I want to buy shit, but like I'm not gonna do it.
But it's just annoying to me that they like haven't added anything into the game. Like from launch, the only things they've added into this game,
The Bandit, and then the Bandit
and the
Evo.
Bandit Evo.
If you could call like those two different guns.
We might have got the Falcon, we might have got the Gravity Hammer Shotgun, we may have gotten the Battle Royale that was started and then scrapped and then moved to another game or wherever it sits now, if it even exists anymore. We don't know. We probably never will. All I know is that the amount of potential that was wasted because of incompetence, whether looking at it from a business standpoint or a fan of the IP, it's just sad. But maybe the real sad thing here is that for the past 2 years, me and a whole other group of people have just been gaslit by a company. We've had Stockholm Syndrome with a product, encouraging us to spend our time and money in this thing that they knew was broken. And I guarantee you someone along the way knew it was never going to be fixed. But now we just get to look back at a platform that could have had a little bit of something for everybody, that will now have nothing for anyone. So many hollow customization menus that were never able to be fully utilized. So many possibilities for campaign DLC. So many leaks of sandbox editions that we'll never get to use. And a BR that was started, scrapped, and who knows where it is now. And with the trend-chasing nature of a lot of the executives, the next Halo will probably be a hero shooter. It'll probably have a BR, even though those things will be dead by the time that they get around to it, because that's how it goes with Halo. And that's so sad, because all of Halo Infinite's positives, everything it did for the community and the amount of accessibility it had for other people from other games to come in and have a baseline and know where to start, that will all be lost. The unique position that Halo Infinite has in the current landscape of gaming, where it's so accessible to people that play very popular first-person shooters, but once you get into the match, it plays out so much differently. That's unique. The idea that the sandbox changes and each gun does something different and your team has to fight for territory to own that spawn of that rocket launcher or have the spawn for their tank. It's a refreshing experience and something that feels familiar enough, but is different enough to give you that different experience. And I know when they trend chase in this next project that will be gone. Halo Infinite specifically nailed a perfect blend of what was marketable and accessible, but also still Halo. For once, they didn't trend chase, they didn't try to do what everyone else was doing, and they just stuck to their guns and did what Halo was, just with a twist to get people on board. And it could have worked, but I already know when executives comb over the numbers and look at the performance of the game, they're not going to blame it on mismanagement of development or the content drought. They're not going to blame it on the fact that co-op campaign or Forge weren't there on launch. They're not going to blame it on how they treated the community for the past 2 years. No, Microsoft, because it has to be the game itself, right? Well, I've bought a lot of cosmetics over the past 2 years, but I'm not buying that. And all of this is why I think Halo Infinite is Microsoft's greatest failure. It's wild just thinking about the possibilities of where this game could have ended up if it was treated as the platform it was meant to be, rather than just crashing it into an iceberg and treating it as a shipwreck. And I'm gonna be sad to see so many good ideas wasted on something that will never see the light of day, that would have been amazing for the community and revenue, in turn giving us constant support for a product that would actually be sustainable. but those things will never be revisited because it's attached to this product specifically. And I didn't really get to touch on every aspect that I wanted to talk about here. I could probably talk about this specific game and how they messed it up for over 10 hours. I know I have with my buddy Dan. So if you feel like I missed anything, or if you disagree with one of the points I said, or if you just agree and want to say something, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I read all of them and I try to reply to as many as possible. But with that being said, thank you for listening to half an hour of another white dude with a mustache and a mullet talk about his opinions on the internet. If you want to catch us talking about this stuff live and join in on the conversation, or just generally see us do stupid shit in games, go ahead and follow me over on twitch.tv/LCVcult, where I'll be streaming for an amount of hours that is probably unhealthy for most humans. And if you think anyone else would enjoy the video, go ahead and share it around. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Also drop a like and subscribe, maybe the notification bell if you want to get notified on when I upload. I don't upload super often because usually I don't know if I'm conveying my point properly, so I end up rewriting the scripts 4 or 5 times. But with that being said, thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
I'll miss you.
Wake me when you need me.